Dennis Kenji, thanks for joining us. So when is this going to come into effect, and exactly which children will be banned? Because clearly some under 16s will have been on social media for years now.
Yeah, so it is currently just a proposal for a new legislation that we see in Australia, and it is to be seen that it will come into force next year. So we have about 12 months before this legislation will really come into force, and affected children are the ones beyond 16 years. And this is really a big issue because Australia had long the plan to regulate the child access to online media, to social media, and this is really the first approach to do this by special legislation.
Yes, and this will be viewed very carefully and indeed with interest from parents around the world, because this issue is a big one in a number of countries. But one of the problems that always gets discussed when we talk about bans on social media for children is, how's it going to work? Who's going to police it?
That's really the problem here. So on one hand, we have of course, the legal regulations that are dealing with banning the access to online media platforms. But we've seen it also in the European Union, where we have a longer tradition of legislation of social media platforms. For example, through the so-called Digital Act for social media platforms, where it's really difficult to have an evaluation if these mechanisms are really effective. And there are also critics that say that children have the chance to access the online media via other possibilities, and that it's only about platform regulation. So of course the internet is not only just platforms, but of course also a lot of other different sites which will not directly be regulated, because we are just talking about Instagram, we are talking about Facebook, possibly YouTube, and this is only a little part of the internet that people can access.
Yes, but it does appear that Australia are ahead of the game in doing something, and many would agree that something has to be done, because so much research suggests that for children, and particularly it seems young girls, social media is particularly harmful.
Yeah, it's particularly harmful, and also with regard to artificial intelligence, because we have a huge rise of disinformation and fake news campaigns, also created by bots, also created by trolls. And this will be some part of this regulation to protect the children against this harmful situations that we currently find on social media platforms. But as I said before, we cannot just regulate social media platforms, then we would have to regulate the whole internet, the whole media, and this is really a big problem. In my opinion, it's not possible. What we currently see is a situation where the states have more and more difficulties regulating digital access for everyone, and also to regulate fake news, and this cannot be solved, this problem, by just one single law for minors in Australia.
Dennis, we thank you very much indeed for your input. Dennis Kenji, Kipker there joining us live from Frankfurt.